Hello friends and welcome back to the channel. In today's episode we'll make some egg rotis. It is a super popular bread all over Asia and it is so easy to make as well. It goes perfectly with nice curry. All we need is a few simple ingredients and a frying pan. You could be eating these in an hour. I have also included a full recipe for the curry in this episode. So you can have yourselves a full meal. Or you can just make the roti. Or only the curry. It's totally up to you. But as always, you'll find a full detailed recipe down in the description box with metric and imperial units. So let's see what equipment we need. We'll need a frying pan to fry our roti, need a bowl, scales, a dough scraper, and that's it. Now ingredients, you'll need some strong white bread flour, milk, a whole egg, salt, sugar, and some oil. We'll also need 4 extra eggs for the rotis when we fry them. To make the dough, grab your bowl, add the milk, the egg, salt, sugar, give it a good mix, and then add the flour. This recipe can be made even a day ahead of time. So if you're planning tomorrow's meal, make the dough today, leave it in the fridge, and cook it tomorrow. So once you've given this a good mix, add the flour and work it into a dough. You want to mix it in a bowl until it's one cohesive piece, and only then pop it out on your table, to avoid making a mess. Now let's start the kneading process. This is not a very sticky dough. I'm going to use my regular kneading method. What I like to do is press down and forwards with the heel of my right hand, and then using the fingers of my left hand I fold the piece of dough under the heel of my right hand, then turn and repeat. Once you've done this a few times, the motion will become fluent, and all in all, this process should not take more than 5 minutes. The dough might still be a little bit sticky, but don't worry about that. Let's clean up the mess and start dividing our dough balls. Grab your scale and your scraper, weigh your dough ball and divide it into 4 equal pieces. You can see so far how simple this bread is to make. We're dividing it and shaping it straight after kneading. And speaking of shaping, now is the time. Grab your dough ball, flatten it out, and then fold the edge over the middle, going around in a circle until you reach the point where you started. Then flip the dough ball smooth side up, tighten it against the table. You can also pinch the seam together at the bottom, and that's your shaping done. And if you messed up the first one, you got 3 more to practice on. Now grab a plate or a tray and brush it with some oil. We're going to place the dough balls on it, because they need to go in the fridge to chill out for an hour or so. Brush the top of the dough balls as well, to prevent the cling film from sticking to them. We are going to use more oil when we cook them, so don't be shy with it. Now let's cover them up and pop them in the fridge for at least 1 hour. During this time the gluten will relax and the dough balls will become nice and stretchy. And as I mentioned earlier, you could make these a day before. As you can see, they're nice and soft, and if I pick one up and stretch it, it stretches easily. Now make sure you have all your other ingredients ready before you start cooking. I would suggest cracking the eggs and whisking them up one by one. You won't do this beforehand, because as the bread goes in the pan, the egg needs to go on the bread straight away. Trust me, you will not have time to whisk it up. Now let's move over to our hot pan. I'm cooking them on a medium to high heat. Now once your pan is nice and hot, you can start shaping. It is quite a simple process. All you need is plenty of oil. Just grease your table, grease the dough ball, then using the flat part of your fingers, press the dough down and stretch it out, going around in a circle. There's no rush, do it gradually. You don't want to tear any holes in it. Just stretch it until you can clearly see your table through it, and then it's ready to go in the pan. I'm using a 10-inch pan, just 25 centimeters. If your pan is smaller, you might want to divide the dough into 6 to make the dough balls smaller as well, thus making the dough thinner, because you don't want it to be thick. Now as soon as the dough hits the pan, pour in the egg, then season it with salt and pepper. Now just grab a spatula and fold it up into a parcel. Now it's worth noting that you could add many different fillings into this dough. You could put some cheese in there, you can put some spices, herbs. But because the curry that I'm serving with this will be super flavorful and fragrant, there's no need for that. So a plain egg roti for me will do. Now keep cooking and flipping it every 30 seconds or so. And whilst the first one's frying, you can stretch out the next one. Just keep an eye on it so it doesn't get too dark. And cook it until it's beautifully golden brown all over. If you need more oil, add more oil. This bread does like a bit of oil in the pan. And that is how you make simple egg rotis. If you are going to make the curry as well, then I would suggest first making the dough, placing it in the fridge, then making the curry. Once the curry is ready, only then finish frying the rotis. And speaking of curry, this is what you need. First we'll make a curry powder with turmeric, cumin, coriander, cloves, star anise, chili powder, black pepper and cinnamon. I ground most of my spices, but you can use pre-ground spices, that's fine. All you need to do is mix everything in a bowl and put it aside. The next element for this curry is the curry paste. You'll need some shallots, some cashew nuts, garlic, ginger, oil, soy sauce, some chili, and some of the curry powder that we just made. Now it would be helpful if you had a food processor, but there are other ways of mincing everything up, like using elbow grease or a mortar and pestle. Now combine all your ingredients and add 2 teaspoons of the curry powder. We'll keep the rest for marinating the chicken. And now just blitz everything to a smooth paste. I'm using a NutriBullet. This thing's super powerful and it's great for making smoothies as well. Now look at that paste. This will be a great base for our curry. Now set this aside and we can start marinating our chicken. Again, you can marinate your chicken a day ahead of time, which will make it even better. But I'm doing this on the same day because I want my curry now. I'm using drumsticks, but you could also use thighs. So add some soy sauce and the rest of the curry powder that we made earlier and set it aside. So to cook the curry and finish it, we'll need some oil, lime leaves, curry leaves, salt, potatoes, coconut milk, some fresh coriander to serve. Obviously we need our chicken and our curry paste. Now let's get on with it. In a preheated pan, pour in your oil and then add all of the curry paste. We want to cook the paste on a medium heat for around 5 minutes. You want it to caramelize a little bit and release more flavor. Now I would suggest using a metal spoon because this may tend to stick to the bottom of the pan. Once it's become nice and thick, add the curry leaves and the lime leaves. Then in with the salt, add a bit of water and give it all a good mix. You could also use lemongrass instead of curry leaves and lime leaves. Like I wanted to use lemongrass, but it wasn't available in the shop. Now last but not least, add the potatoes and the chicken and the rest of the marinade. Add more water to almost cover the chicken. You don't want this curry to be runny, you want it to be nice and thick. But if it's too thick, it will stick to the bottom of the pan, so keep an eye on it. Once it starts simmering, turn the heat down low. You want to cook this for around 1 hour. Low and slow is the key for curries like this. To finish, add some coconut milk. Adjust the seasoning, because you might want it saltier. I ended up adding a little bit of fish sauce. Now a lot of people don't like this stuff, but you can use soy sauce instead or a little bit more salt. And that's your Malaysian chicken curry with roti, all in one. I hope you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more, and check out some more awesome recipes on my channel. Thank you for watching, I'll see you in the next one.